Captain Jake Morrison stood at the big window of Luna Station and watched the ships move slowly past Earth's moon. The ships looked like lazy whales floating through space. Each one had bright blue stickers on their sides. These stickers showed that alien inspectors had checked the ships and found them safe. The aliens had made very clear rules 30 years ago. Humans could not build big warships. They could only make small ones that could barely fight back. Other space peoples had voted on this during the big meeting when humans first joined the Galaxy Club. The tall crystal people called Velkari had sharp voices when they talked about humans. They said humans were too wild and did crazy things that no one could guess. The bug people called Thrax were even worse. They said humans wanted to take over everything and never stopped growing bigger. Even the nice energy people, called Etherians, had agreed to stop humans from making good warships. They said it would keep everyone safe in the galaxy. Jake had been a ship captain for 15 years. He remembered when humans first met the aliens. It had not gone well. There had been fights and battles. Humans had lost most of them because alien ships were much better. After the big fight at Proxima, the aliens had made the rules. No more big human warships. No more human weapons that could hurt alien fleets. Humans could have small ships for police work and moving things around, but nothing that could really fight. Admiral Lisa Carter had called Jake to her private room in the military part of the station. The walls were covered with old things from Earth's waterships. There were old cannons, ship wheels, and faded flags from battles long ago. Lisa herself had fought in the early wars with aliens. She had scars on her face and arms from the Proxima fight that led to all the rules about human ships. The aliens are getting worse every month, Lisa said. Her hands were behind her back as she looked out the window. The crystal people send patrol ships to check our faraway colonies more and more. The bug people are building fort worlds right next to our space. They are getting ready for something, Jake. Jake looked at the computer screens that showed human space. It was a small bubble of star systems surrounded by much stronger alien nations. Earth's best military minds had done the math. If the big alien powers decided to destroy humanity, the approved human fleet would last maybe 6 hours. What do? You want me to do, Admiral? Jake asked. He thought he knew what she was going to say. Lisa touched a button, and a blue light appeared in the air. It showed plans for a huge ship, unlike anything humans were allowed to build. The ship was massive and covered with weapons. The Ghost Ship Project. We have been working on it in secret for 3 years. We used black budget money and told everyone we were buying mining equipment. We are not just building a battleship, Captain. We are building something that will make them think twice about messing with humans. The ship design was amazing and bold. Where alien ships used strange energy weapons and dimension tricks, this ship used humanity's best skill, being able to change and adapt. Humans were good at finding new ways to solve problems. The ship would be built in the asteroid rocks beyond Neptune, hidden from alien spy satellites. Jake realized this was not just about having better weapons. It was about sending a message that humanity would not die quietly. The meeting room felt cold as Lisa explained more about the project. We have been very careful. Only a few people know about this. We picked workers who we trust completely. All the messages are sent through special codes that aliens cannot break. We tell everyone that we are just mining more rocks out there. She showed him more pictures of the ship. It was almost 2 kilometers long. That made it bigger than most alien warships. The design was different from alien ships in important ways. Where alien ships relied on 1 or 2 big weapons, this human ship had many different kinds of weapons all over it. Some shot solid metal very fast. Others shot super hot gas. Some used gravity to crush enemy ships. The armor is special too. Lisa explained. Our scientists found a way to make metal that learns. When an alien weapon hits it, the armor remembers what kind of attack it was. The next time that same weapon hits, the armor knows how to protect better. Jake was impressed, but also worried. What happens when the aliens find out? They will not be happy, Lisa nodded. They will be very angry. But that is exactly why we need this ship. Right now, they think they can do whatever they want to humans. They inspect our colonies whenever they feel like it. They tell us what we can and cannot build. They treat us like children who cannot be trusted with real toys. She walked over to an old Earth flag hanging on the wall. It was from a warship that had fought in Earth's oceans hundreds of years ago. Our ancestors fought for freedom, too. They built ships when others told them not to. They sailed to new places when others said it was impossible. This is what humans do, Jake. We adapt. We survive. We find a way. The plans showed that the ship would have a crew of over 2,000 people. It would need the best pilots, engineers, and fighters that humanity could find. The ship's computer system was also special. It could think and learn like a human brain, but much faster. The aliens have been fighting each other for hundreds of years, Lisa continued. Their ships are built to fight other alien ships. They use energy shields and exotic weapons. But they have never fought anything like what we are building. Our ship uses old ideas in new ways. Metal bullets that move super fast. Armor that gets stronger when attacked. Weapons that can change depending on what we are fighting. Jake looked at the pictures again. The ship looked dangerous and beautiful at the same time. It had sharp edges and smooth curves. The weapons were placed so they could fire in all directions. The engines were bigger than anything humans had built before. When will it be ready? Jake asked. 6 more months if everything goes well. We need someone to command it. Someone who understands both old human naval traditions and new space warfare. Someone the crew will trust and follow into battle. Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was the biggest secret in human space. If the aliens found out before the ship was finished, they would probably attack Earth immediately. But if the ship worked, it could change everything. The construction site is hidden inside a big asteroid, Lisa explained. From the outside, it looks like a normal mining operation. Inside, we hollowed out the rock and built a shipyard. The workers live there for months at a time. No one goes in or out without permission. Every supply run is disguised as mining equipment delivery. She showed him pictures of the asteroid. It was big enough to hide the ship completely. Robot workers and human engineers were putting the ship together piece by piece. The work was dangerous because one mistake could destroy everything they had built. The aliens think they know everything about human technology, Lisa said. They think we are primitive because we use simple materials and basic physics. They do not understand that simple can be better. Their complex weapons have complex weaknesses. Our simple weapons will work when theirs fail. Jake thought about his years serving on small human ships. He had always felt frustrated by the limitations. Human crews were brave and smart, but their ships were weak compared to alien vessels. This new battleship would change that balance. I want to see it, Jake said finally. Lisa smiled for the first time during their meeting. I hoped you would. Say that. A transport leaves for the construction site tomorrow morning. Pack for a long trip, Captain. You are about to see the future of human space power. As Jake left the meeting, he felt excited and scared at the same time. Humanity was about to break the biggest rule the aliens had made. There would be consequences. But sometimes, breaking the rules was the only way to stay free. Engineer Ryan Parker floated in the empty space inside the huge asteroid. Around him, hundreds of workers were welding, building, and putting together pieces of what would become humanity's first real battleship in 30 years, the asteroid. had been hollowed out like a giant cave. Its natural rock walls hid all the construction work perfectly. The asteroid was so far from Earth that alien spy satellites could never see what was happening inside. The asteroid was called Mining Station, Omega 7 on all the official papers. To anyone watching from far away, it looked like humans were just digging rocks and metals out of space. Ships came and went carrying what looked like normal mining equipment. But inside the rock shell, the most important construction project in human history was taking place. Dr. Amy Rodriguez was the smartest scientist working on the project. She had solved the biggest problem facing human military technology. Other alien species had natural advantages. The crystal people had bodies that could focus energy into powerful weapons. The bug people could grow armor that was stronger than most metals. The energy beings could move through space without ships at all. Humans had to be clever to compete with these natural gifts. The armor plating is not just for protection, Amy explained to the group of department heads during their weekly meeting. It learns from every attack. When an alien weapon hits our ship, tiny computers in the armor study the energy pattern. They figure out exactly how the weapon works. The next time we face that same weapon, the armor will change its structure to block it better. Amy had spent 2 years developing this smart armor. Each piece contained millions of tiny machines that could rebuild themselves in seconds. The armor could become harder to stop solid bullets, or it could become smoother to deflect energy beams. It could even change color to blend in with space, or reflect laser attacks back at enemies. Ships' weapons were designed using another, uniquely human approach to fighting. Instead of having 1 or 2 super powerful guns like alien ships, the human battleship would carry many different weapon pods that could be swapped out. If they were fighting crystal people, they could attach weapons that worked best against crystal armor. If they fought bug people, they could switch to weapons that worked against living tissue. Chief Engineer Tony Walsh was in charge of the most ambitious part of the construction. The ship's engine system was completely different from anything humans had built before. Instead of using just one type of faster-than-light travel, the ship would combine multiple alien technologies. Human engineers had stolen some designs, traded for others, and figured out how to copy the rest. The aliens each used different ways to travel faster than light, Tony explained to his engineering team. The crystal people fold space like paper. The bug people dig tunnels through other dimensions. The energy beings just think themselves to new locations. Our ship will be able to use all of these methods. This meant the human ship could move in ways that aliens could not predict or track. If crystal people were chasing them, the ship could switch to bug people travel methods and disappear. If bug people tried to block their path, they could use crystal people technology to go around the trap. Security around the project was extremely tight. Every worker had been checked and double-checked before being allowed to work on the ship. All communications were sent through quantum encrypted channels that would take aliens thousands of years to decode. The cover story about expanded mining operations was supported by real asteroid mining that happened alongside the secret. Construction. Jake Morrison spent more and more time at the construction site as the months passed. He watched the battleship grow from scattered pieces into a massive war machine. The ship was almost 2 kilometers long and half a kilometer wide. It had more weapons than any 10 normal human ships combined. The hull was painted black to absorb light and make it harder to see in space. The ship's bridge was located in the center of the vessel, protected by layers of armor and backup systems. If the outer sections were damaged, the bridge could still control the ship. The command center had screens showing every part of the ship at once. The captain could see what was happening in the engine room, the weapon bays, and the living areas all at the same time. Dr. Rodriguez had also developed a special computer brain for the ship. It was called Atlas, which stood for Adaptive Tactical Learning and Assessment System. Atlas could think almost as fast as a human, but it could also process information from thousands of sensors at once. The computer would help the crew make decisions in battle by analyzing enemy movements and suggesting the best responses. Atlas has been studying every recorded fight between humans and aliens, Amy explained to Jake during one of his visits. It knows how Crystal People ships move, how Bug People weapons work, and how energy beings attack. But more importantly, it can learn new things during battle and share that knowledge with other human ships instantly. The construction workers came from all over human space. There were former military engineers who had worked on the small approved ships. There were civilian workers who had experience building space stations and mining equipment. There were even some former pirates who knew how to hide things from authority figures that living inside the asteroid was not easy. The workers lived in small rooms carved into the rock walls. They had to be careful about air and water because everything had to be recycled. Food was brought in on supply ships disguised as mining equipment deliveries. The workers could not contact their families directly because all communications might be monitored by aliens. But the workers were motivated by something bigger than personal comfort. They knew they were building humanity's future. Every weld, every circuit, every piece of armor was a statement that humans would not accept being treated as second-class citizens in the galaxy. As the ship neared completion, testing began on individual systems. The weapons were tested on old asteroids that were blown apart by the powerful guns. The armor was tested by shooting various types of energy and projectiles at sample pieces. The engines were tested by moving the ship short distances within the asteroid field. The results were better than anyone had expected. The ship's main guns could punch holes through the same type of armor used on alien heavy cruisers. The smart armor could adapt to new attack types within seconds. The hybrid engines could jump between different faster-than-light methods so quickly that it would be almost impossible for enemies to track. Jake began selecting his crew during the final months of construction. He needed people who could think quickly under pressure and adapt to new situations. He chose officers who had served on the small human ships and learned to fight despite having inferior weapons. He picked engineers who could fix anything with whatever materials were available. He selected gunners who could hit targets even when their weapons were not as good as the enemy's. The crew members were brought to the construction site in small groups. They were told they were going to serve on a new type of ship, but they were not told exactly what kind until they saw it with their own eyes. The reaction was always the same. First shock, then excitement, then determination to make the mission succeed. Training began immediately. The crew had to learn how to operate systems that had never been used before. They practiced battle scenarios using computer simulations. They learned how to repair damage while under attack. They studied alien fighting techniques and planned countermeasures. The ship's living areas were designed for long missions far from Earth. There were medical facilities that could treat injuries from alien weapons. There were machine shops that could build replacement parts for any system on the ship. There were even small farms that could grow fresh food during extended voyages. As the final systems came online, everyone involved in the project felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. They had built something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. But they also knew that using it would mean declaring war on restrictions that had kept humanity peaceful for 30 years. The time for hiding was almost over. Soon, the galaxy would learn what humans could accomplish when they refused to accept limitations. The completed battleship hung in space like a sleeping giant. Its dark hull absorbed the light from distant stars, making it almost invisible against the black background of space. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, surrounded by glowing screens that showed power levels, weapon status, and sensor readings. The command crew had been chosen from Earth's best military people, and each one had promised to keep the ship's existence completely secret. Commander Beth Taylor sat at the weapons control station. Her screens showed green lights for all the ship's guns and missile systems. She had spent months learning how to use weapons that no human had ever fired in real combat. The ship's computer brain, Atlas, had been running fake battles for weeks, learning from every recorded fight between humans and aliens. "All departments say they are ready, Captain," announced Lieutenant Sam Davis from the communications station. "We are as prepared as we can be." Their first mission would test both the ship and the crew. Council intelligence had learned that a Thrax bug people fleet was moving toward the human colony world of New Montana. The aliens were probably planning another routine inspection that would leave the colonists scared and the local government embarrassed. These inspections had been happening more often lately, and each one was more aggressive than the last. The battleship's special engine system started up with barely any sound. Unlike alien faster-than-light systems that made bright flashes and energy waves, human engineering focused on being quiet and efficient. The ship slipped between dimensions like a ghost. Arriving at the New Montana star system hours before the Thrax fleet was expected, Jake had chosen to wait near the edge of the system, hidden behind a small moon. The ship's sensors could detect the Thrax fleet long before the aliens knew humans were there. When the enemy ships finally arrived, they would find a surprise waiting for them. The Thrax fleet dropped out of their version of faster-than-light travel exactly where human intelligence had predicted. 6 heavy cruisers and 1 command ship appeared in flashes of sickly green light. The ships looked like giant insects made of metal and bone. Each one was big enough to carry thousands of Thrax warriors and enough weapons to destroy a city. "Enemy fleet detected," Beth reported from her station. 6 cruisers and 1 command vessel. They are moving toward New Montana at normal speed. Jake watched the alien ships on his main screen. The Thrax were not hurrying because they did not expect any resistance. Human colonies had never fought back against these inspections before. The aliens thought they could do whatever they wanted. "Take us out from behind the moon," Jake ordered. "Decloak the ship and move to intercept their fleet." The human battleship appeared directly in the path of the Thrax fleet like a magic trick. One moment there was empty space, and the next moment there was a massive human warship with weapons powered, but not yet aimed at targets. The alien ships immediately stopped moving and began talking to each other on their communication channels. Captain Zetar of the Thrax command ship opened a communication link to the human vessel. His translated voice sounded angry and superior. "Unknown human vessel, you are breaking Galactic Council rules. Turn off your weapons and get ready to be boarded for inspection." Jake activated the main viewer so the Thrax captain could see him clearly. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Forces. You are ordered to leave this star system immediately. This is your only warning." The alien captain made a sound like angry insects buzzing. Through the translator, it came out as laughter. "You dare to threaten the Thrax Collective? Your weak ships are toys compared to our mighty fleet. We have crushed human resistance before, and we will do it again." Jake had expected this response. The aliens had become used to human ships running away or surrendering without a fight. They had no idea what they were facing now. ATLA's target. Their command ship's weapon systems, Jake ordered quietly. "Fire when ready." The battleship's main guns spoke with the voice of human defiance. Solid metal projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds, struck the Thrax command vessel's energy shields. The alien shields flared bright green and began to buckle under the impact. The Thrax captain's laughter stopped immediately. "Impossible," the alien captain screamed. "Your primitive weapons cannot penetrate our shields." But the human weapons were not primitive. They were just different. While alien ships relied on energy weapons that could be blocked by energy shields, Human kinetic weapons used simple physics. Fast-moving solid objects carried enormous amounts of force that energy shields were not designed to stop. The Thrax fleet responded by opening fire with all their weapons. Streams of acid, bioplasma, and organic missiles flew toward the human ship. This was the real test of Dr. Rodriguez's adaptive armor system. As each alien weapon hit the battleship's hull, tiny computers analyzed the attack and adjusted the armor structure. Acid attacks were neutralized by chemical reactions built into the armor surface. Energy weapons were reflected or absorbed by specially configured metal layers. Living missiles were destroyed by electromagnetic pulses that disrupted their nervous systems. Armor is adapting perfectly, Beth reported with excitement in her voice. Hull damage is minimal and decreasing with each hit. The human ship began to move in ways that confused the alien commanders. Instead of staying at long range like most space battles, the battleship charged directly at the enemy fleet. This brought human weapons into their most effective range while making it harder for alien ships to coordinate their attacks. What followed was less a battle than a lesson in human military thinking. The Thrax had prepared to fight other alien species that used similar technologies and tactics. They had never faced an enemy that combined old ideas with new materials in unexpected ways. The human ships' modular weapons switched configurations during the battle. When fighting ships with strong frontal armor, the weapons fired from different angles. When facing fast-moving targets, the firing rate increased. When attacking heavily shielded vessels, the weapons switched to types that worked better against energy barriers. Atlas coordinated the entire battle with inhuman precision. The computer brain tracked every enemy ship, predicted their movements, and suggested optimal attack patterns. It also learned from each exchange, becoming more effective as the battle continued. Within 20 minutes, 3 Thrax cruisers were floating powerless in space. Their crews were alive, but their ships could not fight or run away. The human weapons had been carefully aimed to disable rather than destroy, showing a level of precision that impressed even Jake. The remaining Thrax ships tried to retreat, but the human battleship was faster. The hybrid engine system allowed it to match any faster-than-light method the aliens used. Every time the Thrax tried to escape, the human ship appeared in their path again. Captain Ziktar finally opened communications again. This time, his voice was different. The arrogance was gone, replaced by fear and confusion. "What do you want?" "From us, human." "I want you to remember this moment," Jake replied calmly. "Remember that humans are not as weak as you thought. Remember that we will defend our colonies and our people. And remember to tell your leaders that things have changed." The surviving Thrax ships were allowed to leave, but not before human boarding parties had taken detailed scans of their technology. The information would be valuable for improving human weapons and defenses. As the alien fleet limped away from New Montana, Jake felt a mixture of satisfaction and worry. The ship had performed even better than expected, but this was just the beginning. When word of this battle reached the Galactic Council, there would be consequences. "Set course for the construction site," Jake ordered. "We need to report our success and prepare for what comes next." The battleship slipped back into stealth mode and disappeared from normal sensors. The first test was complete, and humanity had passed with flying colors. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council started within hours of the Thrax fleet's embarrassing defeat. Velkari Ambassador Sithrak's crystal body pulsed with angry colors as he spoke to the assembly. His many arms moved dramatically as his translated words echoed through the huge chamber on the neutral world of Concordia. "The humans have broken the most important rules placed on their species," he declared loudly. "They have built a warship that can match our own most powerful vessels. This cannot be allowed to continue." Thrax Hive speaker Kelmoth's insect features twitched with barely controlled anger. His 6 eyes glowed red as he remembered the reports from Captain Zektar. Our expedition force was humiliated. 3 of our finest ships were disabled by a single human vessel. The effect on our younger warriors has been devastating. The Etherian representative was a being of pure energy contained within a shimmering field. As always, they spoke with diplomatic carefulness. Perhaps we should consider that humanity's actions were defensive in nature. The Thrax force was approaching the human colony world without being invited. This statement caused immediate angry protests from the other alien delegates. For 30 years, the inspection rights granted to major council powers had been normal practice. The fact that humans had finally refused to submit was being treated as an act of war. On Luna Station, Admiral Lisa Carter watched the council proceedings through secret intelligence channels. She had expected this angry response, but the speed and violence of the alien reaction told her that humanity's secret battleship had done more than simply protect New Montana. It had fundamentally changed the balance of power in local space. Dr. Amy Rodriguez had arrived from the construction site with disturbing intelligence gathered after the battle. Their weapons and shielding technology is more advanced than we thought, she reported to the assembled command staff. But it is also more specialized. They have become so focused on fighting each other that they have not prepared for human tactical innovation. This discovery had profound implications. The major galactic powers had been locked in a Cold War for hundreds of years. Their military development focused on countering each other's exotic technologies. Humanity's primitive approach to warfare had caught them completely unprepared. The aliens used energy weapons, dimensional manipulation, and biological warfare, because those were the tools needed to fight other aliens. Humans used kinetic weapons, adaptive materials, and modular systems because those were the tools humans could build and understand. The 2 approaches were so different that neither side had prepared for the other. Captain Jake Morrison reviewed tactical reports from the engagement while considering their next moves. The battleship had performed beyond all expectations, but one ship could not protect all of human space. More ships would be needed, but construction time and resources were limited. The political situation got worse rapidly as the council session continued. Evelkari proposed immediate military action to destroy the rogue human vessel and occupy Earth's colonies until proper compliance could be assured. The Thrax eagerly supported this proposal, wanting to restore their damaged reputation. However, smaller council members began questioning whether the human restrictions had ever been fair. The Water-Breathing Depths Confederation pointed out that humans had never actually attacked anyone without being provoked first. The machine intelligences of the Silicon Collective noted that human innovation had produced valuable technological advances that helped all species. The debate revealed deep divisions within the council that had been hidden for decades. Many smaller species had always resented the dominance of the major powers. They saw the human restrictions as an example of how the big species bullied anyone who might challenge their control, but the major powers were not interested in debate. They had already made their decision before the council meeting began. Intelligence reports reached Admiral Carter that changed everything. Multiple alien fleets were gathering throughout council space. Their stated mission was the restoration of galactic stability, but everyone knew what that really meant. The Vilkari were assembling their dimensional strike fleet, 27 crystal ships capable of folding space to appear anywhere instantly. The Thrax were mobilizing 3 hive fleets, each containing hundreds of bioships grown specifically for war. Even the peaceful Etherians were preparing their Harmony Enforcement Squadron, energy beings who could possess enemy ships and turn them against each other. Combined, these fleets had enough firepower to reduce every human world to radioactive ash. The official justification remained restoration of lawful galactic order, but intercepted communications revealed the truth. The alien powers had decided that humanity's technological adaptability made them too dangerous to survive. Admiral Carter called an emergency meeting of Earth's military leadership. Representatives from every human colony attended via secure communication links. The topic was simple: how to survive the coming storm. "They're not just planning to destroy our battleship," Carter explained to the assembled leaders. "They want to eliminate humanity as a potential threat." The restrictions were never about keeping peace. They were about keeping us weak. Colonel Marcus Webb from the Mars Defense Force spoke first. "How long do we have before they attack?" "Intelligence suggests 6 weeks, maybe 8, Carter replied. "They need time to coordinate their fleets and agree on target assignments. Each species wants to claim the most prestigious targets for themselves." Dr. Rodriguez presented her analysis of alien military capabilities. The good news is that their over-specialization works against them when coordinating together. Valkyrie dimensional weapons can accidentally damage Thrax bioships. Etherian possession techniques don't work on crystal-based technology. They've never had to fight as a true combined force. This weakness offered humanity's only hope. If the alien fleets could be forced to fight in ways that caused them to interfere with each other, their overwhelming numerical advantage might be reduced. The construction program at the asteroid site had to be expanded immediately. 5 more battleships were already in various stages of completion, but they would need at least 4 months to finish. Time was running out. Captain Morrison proposed a desperate strategy. "We can't wait for the full fleet to be ready. We need to hit them before they finish organizing. If we can damage their coordination early, we might have a chance." The idea was incredibly risky. Taking one ship against multiple alien fleets seemed like suicide. But doing nothing would definitely result in humanity's extinction. Admiral Carter made the hardest decision of her career. "We'll implement the preemptive strike option. Jake, your ship will target the alien fleet coordination centers. If you can disrupt their command structure, it might buy us enough time to finish the other ships." Preparations began immediately for what everyone knew would be humanity's last stand. A battleship would have to fight alone against impossible odds. If it failed, the human species would be remembered only as a footnote in galactic history. But if it succeeded, even partially, humanity might survive long enough to complete their secret fleet and fight back with real force. The stakes could not be higher. Every human world, every colony, every space station depended on one ship and one crew. The margin for error was 0. As Jake prepared to take his ship into battle against the combined might of 3 galactic superpowers. He thought about the words Admiral Carter had spoken months ago. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Humans find a way. Soon, the galaxy would learn whether those words were true or just the final boast of a species about to become extinct. The countdown to humanity's ultimate test had begun. Everything they had built, everything they had learned, everything they had sacrificed would be put to the final examination. War was coming, whether humanity was ready or not. 6 months after the New Montana incident, the asteroid field beyond Neptune buzzed with activity like never before. What had once been a single hidden construction site had grown into a massive industrial complex spread across dozens of hollowed-out rocks. The success of the first battleship had convinced Earth's leadership to commit everything to the gamble of military defiance. Admiral Lisa Carter stood in the command center of Mining Station Alpha, watching as 5 additional battleships neared completion. Each vessel used lessons learned from the prototype's fight with the Thrax. They had improved armor systems, better weapons packages, and more sophisticated computer coordination systems. The political situation had gotten exactly as bad as predicted. 3 major council fleets were moving toward human space with combined strength sufficient to destroy every colony world and reduce Earth itself to burning ash. The official reason remained restoration of lawful galactic order, but intercepted. Communications revealed the truth. The alien powers had decided that humanity's ability to adapt and innovate made them too dangerous to survive. Captain Jake Morrison commanded the lead battleship, now officially called the UES Defiance. His crew had been expanded and cross-trained on alien technologies captured during later inspection encounters. Every major alien military force had now faced human resistance, and each fight had provided valuable intelligence about their capabilities and weaknesses. Dr. Amy Rodriguez had achieved another breakthrough that would prove decisive in the coming conflict. Analysis of alien technologies revealed a fundamental limitation in their approach to warfare. Each species had developed weapons and defenses designed specifically for fighting their traditional enemies, creating blind spots that human adaptability could exploit. They are like players in a complex game of rock, paper, scissors, she explained to the assembled fleet commanders. The Velkari crystal weapons destroy Thrax bioarmor. Thrax acid projectors eat through Etherian energy shields, but none of them know how to counter our kinetic systems or adaptive materials. The fleet that would face the alien armada consisted of 6 human battleships, supported by a cloud of smaller vessels. Modified freighters carried experimental weapons. Fast corvettes were equipped with boarding pods. Supply ships could double as missile platforms. It was a force that violated every principle of normal galactic warfare. The aliens had been preparing for this battle for months. The Velkari Dimensional Strike Fleet could fold space to appear anywhere instantly. The Thrax Hive fleets contained hundreds of bioships grown specifically for war. The Etherian Harmony Squadron consisted of energy beings who could possess enemy ships and turn them against each other. When the alien fleets arrived at the edge of human space, they found an enemy unlike anything they had prepared to fight. The humans did not engage in the traditional long-range energy weapon duels that characterized most space battles. Instead, they used their superior speed and maneuverability to close distance rapidly, bringing their kinetic weapons to bear at ranges where alien shields were less effective. The battle for humanity's survival lasted 14 hours and ranged across 3 star systems. Human ships darted between the huge alien dreadnoughts like wolves attacking elephants. Their adaptive armor learned to counter new weapon types in real time. Coordinated by Atlas-class computer brains, the human fleet fought with a unity and tactical flexibility that alien commanders found impossible to counter. The Velkari tried to use their dimensional folding technology to surround individual human ships, but the humans had prepared for this. Modified sensor arrays could detect dimensional distortions before they fully formed. Human ships would accelerate away from trap zones while firing kinetic rounds back through the dimensional fold, striking Velkari vessels before they could fully emerge. The Thrax attempted to overwhelm human defenses through sheer numbers, launching thousands of biomissiles and fighter organisms. But human point defense systems had been specifically designed to counter swarm attacks. Rapid-fire kinetic weapons created walls of metal fragments that shredded incoming bioweapons before they could reach their targets. The Etherian energy beings tried their possession technique on human ships, but found unexpected resistance. Human computer systems had been hardened against energy intrusion after studying captured Etherian technology. When energy beings tried to possess human vessels, they found themselves trapped in specially designed containment fields. The turning point came when Jake's battleship led a coordinated assault on the Velkari command vessel. Human boarding parties, equipped with powered armor and weapons designed specifically to counter crystal biology, fought their way through the alien ship's defenses. The Velkari had never faced enemies inside their own vessels before. Captain Morrison himself led the boarding team that captured the alien bridge. The Velkari commander, a being made of living crystal that stood 3 meters tall, tried to activate a self-destruct sequence rather than surrender. But human engineers had studied Velkari technology extensively. They knew exactly which crystal formations controlled which systems. "Your ship is now under human control," Jake announced to the Velkari commander. "Order your fleet to withdraw, or we will use your own dimensional weapons against your remaining ships." The crystal being's light patterns flickered with what human translators interpreted as shock and disbelief. No species in galactic history had ever captured a Velkari command ship. The very idea was considered impossible. With their command structure disrupted, the Velkari formation collapsed into chaos. Individual ships began folding space randomly, trying to escape. Some collided with Thrax bioships in the confusion. Others accidentally opened dimensional rifts that interfered with Etherian energy patterns. The coordinated alien attack became a panicked retreat. Ships that had never worked together found it impossible to coordinate their withdrawal. Velkari. Vessels folded into spaces occupied by Thrax ships. Etherian energy beings found themselves caught in dimensional storms created by damaged Velkari technology. Human ships pursued the fleeing aliens across 2 star systems, capturing damaged vessels and gathering intelligence. The adaptive armor systems had recorded detailed information about every alien weapon encountered. The modular weapon systems had proven their worth against multiple enemy types. By the battle's end, 2/3 of the attacking fleet had been destroyed or captured. The remainder fled back to alien space, carrying word of humanity's unexpected military capability. The Galactic Council's attempt to eliminate the human threat had instead demonstrated that humanity was now a power that could not be ignored or dismissed. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defiance as it patrolled the borders of human space, watching alien merchant vessels give his ship a respectful distance. The message had been delivered and received clearly. Humans were not allowed to build battleships, but they had done it anyway. They were prepared to do whatever else survival required. In the aftermath, the Council was forced to renegotiate humanity's status as an equal member rather than a restricted species. The battleship construction program continued, but its purpose had shifted from desperate defense to ensuring that no species would ever again attempt to cage human ambition. The restrictions that had kept humanity weak for 30 years were officially lifted. Human colonies began building their own defense fleets. Human merchants started carrying weapons to protect themselves from pirates. Human explorers pushed into unexplored regions of space, no longer afraid of what they might find. Dr. Rodriguez established research facilities on captured alien ships, studying their technologies and incorporating useful discoveries into human designs. The adaptive armor concept was expanded to include entire ship hulls. The modular weapon systems became standard equipment on all human vessels. Admiral Carter stood once again at the observation window of Luna Station, but now she watched human battleships patrol alongside the merchant freighters. The ships moved with purpose and confidence, their crews knowing they served a species that had fought for its freedom and won. The galaxy had learned an important lesson about humanity. They could be restricted, contained, and threatened, but they could not be stopped. When pushed to the edge of extinction, humans did not surrender. They adapted, innovated, and fought back with everything they had. The age of human weakness was over. The age of human strength had begun.